So we're going to look at 3 different Invoker players at 3 different MMRs. To start off, we're looking at a hurledgaming Invoker, then an ancient spammer of Invoker, and finally a TI winner. So we'll see the kids, the boys, and then the men. To start off, Invoker used his Sunstrike. He has null talismans, observer ward, and shared tangos. Pretty impressive stuff starting off in the first seconds of this hurled gaming match, and he fails to block straight away, like instantly, and he doesn't even try and block the creeps. Maybe he had the idea of blocking the creeps but didn't know how. He straight away goes for 2 hits of harass, places an observer ward down, which is super obvious, but kunka doesn't really care about that. Kunka wants to harass back, and the harass is pretty heavy already at this point in the game, which is quite interesting. Now, what's also really interesting about this is that Marana tried to arrow him there, and he actually got a little bit contested. He could have walked into the arrow, he wasn't aware of it. But look at Kunka's items. He has 4 fairy fires, 2 gauntlets of strength, and an observer ward in the backpack. An amazing place for an observer ward to be. He's queued for 2 bracers, and Invoker is queued up for his 2nd null talisman. As you'll see, is that actually buying the items individually, you're buying a circlet and 2 mantles of intelligence for Invoker would have been a better idea, because it gives you more stats than, say, just this null talisman on its own. And we'll go into that a little bit later when we look at the other players and what they're building in their starting items. And he just levels Cold Snap. He straight away uses his Cold Snap when he gets the chance, and he's utilizing his mana pretty well. Kunka does have a 5-second cooldown on his fairy fire, so he can't just spam all of them at once. Here he doesn't know whether he should go back or not, and at this point Invoker is still trying to commit for this, and at this point Invoker shouldn't have vision of Kunka to see across high ground, and Kunka should easily know by now that there's an observer ward here, and Kunka is chancing his luck. He's going to keep standing here in lane looking for some experience and maybe some last hits. Invoker's really trying to get this kill. And even Kunka missed the harass there with his Tidebringer cleave. And Invoker's still just going along. And now is he going in for the kill? He goes for the Cold Snap. Will he hit the Sunstrike? And no, he's way off. He was never going to go this way. Now at this point Kunka says, okay, I'm not chancing it any longer. He walks back to the fountain, heals up, he buys a 2nd teleport, and TP's back to lane. Meanwhile, Invoker is looking for Sunstrikes. He's aware and looking around the map. This is a little bit better than what you would expect from the average hurled player. And Kunka comes back to lane and back to harassing. And Invoker is still behind on last hits, even though Kunka missed an entire creep wave there. So Invoker is currently half HP. And in this creep wave, he's flying out the courier with some items. But Kunka hits level 6 here. Now Kunka is level 6. And when he levels up his ghost ship, he levels it up now. He can easily kill Invoker with a combo here. And Invoker is looking at other lanes. He's standing AFK here in one point. Kunka could have easily just come in and X and torrent, even just torrent into boat, and would have got the kill there. But he didn't, and instead Kunka just keeps hitting the tower. Even at this point he can come in and start hitting the Invoker, but he doesn't. Here Invoker walks even closer to Kunka, and Kunka still doesn't go for the kill. The Spirit Breaker is still passive in his lane, and there's very little pressure overall being applied to Invoker. So he goes for the Meteor, and you'll see this a few times. He just meteors the creep waves. And here Kunka goes for the kill, and he gets caught totally out of position. Really bad, too cheeky. You can see the Thirst, Nature's Prophet, is teleporting in to try and get the Kunka. And he's gone. What? Kunka's too quick to TP out. So there is actually a certain amount of skill going on with this Kunka player. He has some strategy behind his head. And triple bracer going super mega tanky, and Invoker is going like a right click build. People standing in one position, he can just easily hit Sunstrikes, and getting the Sunstrike from the fountain and using this meteor to get last hits. And what he ends up doing a lot of the time is he'll just push out to clear the creep wave with meteor, and then he goes for a Sunstrike somewhere else. So it's this kind of like repetitive thing of doing it again and again. He's kind of AFKing under his tower. He doesn't understand the concept of like, oh, you can go into the jungle and hit creeps there, and he can do that really well with Forge Spirit. He never used Forge Spirit in lane either, and now he's going bottom with an Illusion Root. Now this is a very interesting play. There's a Monkey King here, and he uses his Cold Snap and Alacrity, and he's going for the kill. So this is actually really interesting here. Now Monkey King is going to turn, and Moonlight Shadow. So there's no Spirit Breaker charge, which is really bizarre or bewildering at this point. So it's really hard to predict what other players are going to do, and a play like this should easily get punished at higher ranks, and someone would TP into the tower if they saw Invoker coming so far. And even with Moonlight Shadow, you would say back off, but Invoker is still going for it, and he's manning up. He's not manning up anymore, and now he's manning up again. Who's gonna win? It's a close one. Invoker wins, and that's just pretty much a roll of the dice to see who's gonna win. I don't think the Invoker calculated that one. So pushing down this tower is a pretty decent idea. Meanwhile, while Invoker went for that kill, Kunka pushed down the mid tower, and he's still looking for these Sunstrike kills that are happening at other sides of the map. Monkey King TP's into the lane in front of his vision. He's going for the Sunstrike play again, is he? Yes, players standing in one spot. He's going for Sunstrike, and you'll see now the first time in the game that Spirit Breaker uses charge on Invoker. It's 12 minutes into the game, and the first charge. That's just unbelievably stupid. Invoker just goes for the bounty runes, and nice Sunstrike on an Invis Kunka who got ruptured. So these setups, as you'll see, are pretty favorable for these Sunstrike only Invoker, and he's a one spell god, if you want to put it that way. So now the Dire are pushing this tower, they're disengaging. Kunka came in with an X-Bolt combo, but Invoker used his Yules to escape it. We got like a charge, and all their heroes are on Invoker. He used his Meteor just before he dies. Pretty effective usage of it, and now Kunka is going to die because of that Meteor. So pretty good like last ditch play to escape from damage, and also getting maximum damage out in being in a bad position. So we're fast forward up a bit now, and Invoker just goes in on 5 heroes trying to catch back up. His awareness there was pretty bad of where the enemy team was going, and we'll see that the Radiant side actually come back into this game. And we'll see here he's going for the Sunstrike play just when he respawns. He's casting... Oh, he's teleporting in instead of using Sunstrike from a distance. What's new? A new combo here is he doing? Oh, the Yules into Sunstrike. And it's a little bit overkill. He could have used his Yules for like another target. But look at where his camera is. It's not in a very useful place. You can't really see what's happening to the right hand side or below him very much. And it's in a really weird place. And it's kind of cool guys don't look at explosions. He doesn't even want to see the Spirit Breaker die. Going to push a tower, which is a good idea rather than going jungling. But at the same time, he's not utilizing his Forge Spirit. This is a terrible fight for Dire here. The Lich ult into Monkey Stun ended up comboing their team a lot. And what's really important about this, I want to just look at the win probability. And look how high their win probability is right now. So the Dire have something like an 80% chance of winning right now, which is insane. But if we look at the overall graphs, at this point in the game, it jumps back the opposite way. So just that like couple of deaths that happened in that space, like a 2-minute window, ended up being the comeback that the Radiant needed to win the game. Now overall, what you just end up seeing with this Hurled Invoker is he needs to work on combos, his last hitting, his basic fundamentals that are not really about skill on the hero. So now we're looking at an ancient spammer of Invoker. He's get vision of the enemy team, you can see their items, but what's different this time is he has 2 Mantle of Intelligence, a Circlet, and he gets more damage overall. So if we count this up, he places an Observer Ward as well. So you have 3, 6, 8, 9 Intelligence, and then +2 for Fairy Fire. So that's 11 damage overall that he gets extra in lane. Now, no one shared him tangos, unfortunately, and he blocks keeps pretty well, especially at the second half. He blocks the creeps very heavily. He's up against a Storm Spirit, and Storm's kind of like pretty good against Invoker at certain points of the game. But Storm's taking a lot of harass here. They're trading harass back and forth. But what the Storm did straight away is he double waved the Invoker. So look at how many creeps Invoker now has to deal with, and he's half health. Invoker does not have a natural way at level 1 to clear a creep wave. You saw the Invoker last game was using Meteor a lot to just clear the creep wave and push the lane, which is good, but Invoker doesn't have that on level 1, and it doesn't do that much damage until later in the game. Now this pressure is a lot for Invoker to take handle of, and we already have this Storm Spirit is level 2, and Storm Spirit has a similar build with 2 Mantle of Intelligence, a Circlet, and Fairy Fire. This is to get the maximum damage on the lane with starting items, and Invoker is just last hitting away. There's not a huge amount going on. You're getting this overcharge straight away from the Storm Spirit, getting that harass out there and taking advantage of the fact that Invoker does not have regen. So now he bought his tangos, and it's hard for Invoker at this point, because you look now, this pressure of the double waving, regardless of what happened with the blocks, there's so many creeps that Invoker's being pressured by. It's now 6 last hits to 12, so instantly in the early waves Invoker is doing pretty bad. And at this point, Storm Spirit's lane is in a really good position, because look where the Radiant creeps are. They're on the low ground on the stairs, and now Invoker has to last it up the high ground. But if he didn't have this ward on the left, see this one, he wouldn't be able to see what Storm Spirit is doing up here, because these creeps are up on the high ground. He can see the ranged creep when the ranged creep is attacking his own allied creeps. But this is one of the most favorable positions when you're up against ranged hero on ranged hero in the lane. So when Storm Spirit attacks Invoker with the overcharge, it also hits his Forge Spirit, and the Forge Spirit takes damage. Now, this is not ideal for Invoker, but it's very good play by the Storm to harass and do the harass in this order. You also notice that he's using the Forge Spirit to like tank the creeps instead of having Invoker, like the hero itself, using it. And these are kind of like small things that make a little bit better difference. At this point, Storm is just constantly trying to get rid of this Forge Spirit, pressure the creeps into Invoker, allow the creeps to do harass to Invoker, and force him to last it under the tower. Meanwhile, while the creep wave is pushed in, Storm Spirit can go and try and get a rune. And in this case, he's going for the Shrine, which is ready at 5 minutes, and his ally teams have good value use of the Shrine too. They're cancelling each other's clarities. Storm is going for a kill, and I don't think he's actually going for the full kill here. And a lot of the reason why is because he wants to get Invoker down on health, so that while Invoker is low on health, it's very hard for Storm to kill him from full HP. So the next time, what Storm can do is he can heal up his mana and then go again a second time. But the enemy team, but Invoker's team, is already predicting this is going to happen. So straight away they go back in and force the Storm Spirit to use his mana to escape again. Kotal is only level 4. And Invoker is getting a Midas. He's skilled the wrong ability. He went for Ghost Walk. He was probably trying to go Cold Snap to cancel the teleport, which ends up resulting in Storm Spirit getting a double kill. So that small thing could have prevented 2 kills, and pretty good for Storm. And he's challenging this pretty well. The PA, like Invoker's getting a lot of help on mid lane, and he's pretty smart to back up there when Juggernaut comes, because he can't really deal with it. And just as a safe precaution, he goes to Ghost Walk, because he saw Lion TP in. Lion's finger does 600 damage, 1 finger, 1 death. Not what exactly you want to do. And we see how now at like this bracket, how you combo with a Sunstrike is a little bit different in comparison to a Hurl. So you have PA's Dagger is a natural slow, and it works really well for Axe and getting kills on him. And as a result of that Sunstrike, it's a kill secured for PA in the bottom lane. And you'll also see Roar into Sunstrike, Beastmaster's Roar. Earthshaker has a lot of stun and control, and overall it's a pretty good game for Exhort Invoker. So the next thing that I want to point out is Invoker's items. So the last Invoker, which I didn't mention, what he did was he went Point Booster, and then he went an Ogre Club. So instead, this Invoker goes Staff of Wizardry. Doing this gives you more right-click damage, and it gives you slightly more mana pool. So these are both things that Invoker likes a lot. People are predicting it, and people are not standing in one spot, which is also important. And he had 1 second to Sunstrike for this Roar combo, which he didn't get done, and because of the fact that like his teammate with like 1 second, a little bit longer. This combo here, he's like fumbling a bit. He uses Tornado. A lot of the reason why he used the Tornado there was because he thought Lion was coming to Earth Spike him and getting the Tornado, but instead Invoker walks into Kotal's like ult, nearly gets slept by Kotal's ult, and meanwhile back here Juggernaut is like wiping up Invoker's team. And here Invoker is the last one alive, and instead of escaping, he wants, hey, let's go and fight with no mana. He's battle hungered. Watch a Lion, he's up here. There's 5 heroes going on Invoker, and he's trying to man up against them. He has no mana to do anything. And I think at this point, Invoker immediately regretted his decision. And the Storm Spirit even decides, hey, I'm going to play aggressive. I don't care. I'm going to get out of this. What you start to see of Invoker as the game goes on is that he messes up a certain amount in team fights. So you look here, he's inside in Keeper of the Light's ultimate, and he used his Tornado and missed it, and he could have used it on Axe later on. He walks trying to get out of Keeper of the Light's ultimate, and he gets slept again by it again. He has to use his Yules on himself. He actually gets a really nice Deafening Blast into an Ice Wall. Nice little escape here, and he Ghost Walks away. So that's a really nice escape there. Unfortunate this line didn't buy like detection, but at the same time, very nice escape there. So if we even look at the item choice now, we have a Yules, and Storm Spirit bought an Orchid, and Orchid is really good against Invoker, but the Yules can dispel it, the BKB as well, and these item choices are being validly used, and either way, PA is carrying here with IO. He is missing some Tornadoes, and he keeps walking into this Keeper of the Light ultimate. And he doesn't really, I don't know if he understands exactly with the new changes to Keeper of the Light's ultimate, but they're fountain farming now with PA's evasion. Invoker's using himself defensively, very good idea here, and Invoker gets saved by his Earthshaker. Now overall, like, you start to see that like the usage of items is a lot more effective with this player. The Hurled player was dead for about 10 minutes in a 40-minute game, so that means he's dead for a quarter of the time throughout the match, whereas this Invoker was only dead for like 2 or 3 minutes in like a 40-minute game as well. So this Invoker spends very little time dead, and overall allows him to farm faster. It allows him to get more kills, be more active, and anytime you don't spend dead is time that you could be spending doing something on the map and creating pressure. So now we're going on to the Immortal Invoker player, who is also a TI winner. He's Moo from Newbie, who won TI 4. I don't know if he's still playing on Newbie, but what's apparent this time is he again has the same items as before, with the Mantle of Intelligence, the Circlet, the Fairy Fire, and an Iron Branch. He also places his ward out early on, very similar, and has queued 2 Null Talismans. What you'll see is that Invoker is constantly burning Timbersaw's mana, and he eventually buys a Soul Ring so that he can just heal up his mana. He gets the regen rune. He stops the courier from coming down the river so that the courier doesn't die stupidly. But at the same time, you'll notice that Invoker's always right-clicking Timbersaw when he gets the chance. And this pressure that Timbersaw is doing is actually winning him the lane. He's doing a lot of harass here, and Invoker doesn't get any help. We looked last game and the Earthshaker rotated mid several times. The IO rotated once or twice, and this time Invoker is having a much harder lane to deal with, and it's a quite passive lane overall other than just right clicking and burning mana again and again. You think anti-mage is annoying with burning mana? You have Invoker from Moo burning mana, and just the fact there was a really good kill, because if Invoker previously wasn't harassing the Timbersaw down into low health, even if Timbersaw had no mana, he would have still escaped, because they wouldn't have had enough magical burst damage to kill the Timbersaw. People are not playing Invoker at higher ranks, or at like Immortal rank, because the hero's just not that good. When you look at heroes like Lifestealer and Juggernaut are in the meta, both of them have magical resistance and a really nice tornado hit onto both units at the same time. Getting the EMP, it makes Furion back up a little bit. He uses the dust at the last second for as far as he can use it, just in case Invoker used his Ghost Walk. We have a support TP rotation in, but he still gets to kill Furion. One little right click, Invoker teleporting to his tier 2 tower. And it's pretty much when there's two heroes mid that come and just push down your tower, there's not really much you can do. And ideally, like, you want your supports to come mid, but Tiny's level 4, Lion's level 3, you don't have much choice. And sometimes people get like kind of frustrated at this point, and sometimes just start raging in the chat because their tower's dying, no one's coming to help them. Well, there isn't really any help. Even if the players had higher levels, Lion would have to be level 6 to really be able to do anything very effective. And even if you look at this game, you look at the items which Invoker is getting, he's going earn straight away before his boots even, and going straight into his Spirit Vessel. And a lot of the reasons because Spirit Vessel is really good against Timbersaw, so he does this really well. And then hits the Cold Snap, so he's hitting combos from very early points in the game, getting active, saving his supports, just a little bit of extra. And at this point you'd be like, oh crap, I don't want to fight an anti-mage as an Invoker. I don't want all my mana burned. In a lot of cases, Invokers would just back off at this point. But this Invoker is pretty good. He's even taking two heroes right-clicking at the same time. But the fact that he has the Alacrity on him, like the buff, he's still able to keep going. Now at this point, he's still, like, he's nowhere near dead, because guess what? He has 9 stick charges. You think that he's even close to dying. So Furion wasted 90 gold just to get this kill, and he doesn't end up getting it. So now he's on the high ground. He can go to the shrine, heal up. He has 10 stick charges. And straight away he's going top looking for another kill. So this is what it's like for a TI winner. He's actually going out and trying to make plays, even though he's spending a lot of time going for this kill. A kill on Timbersaw at this point in the game is really important. He has a Spirit Vessel with 3 charges, and killing, like, Timbersaw wants to snowball really hard, so shutting him down as early as possible is highly effective. He messed up his combo there, but with the Spirit Vessel and Omni Slash, they're doing a lot of damage. Cold snapping just when he uses his Timber Chain also prevents him from escaping very easily. It makes the Timber Chain go on cooldown. So here's a really nice combo. So straight away he's hit a tornado onto 4 heroes. This is the TI winning tornado there. He gets a mana drain on the Timbersaw. Juggernaut, it goes for a jump, and like, that's like the most unluckiest jump I've seen in like a long time. He jumped onto Furion's creeps. Maybe an expert play there by Furion as well, but also incredibly unlucky by Timbersaw. They get a Sunstrike hit on him again, a second Spirit Vessel charge, and Lion coming in to fully 100% security kill just in case he gets away anyways. So now this next fight is pretty much a good example of why the lineup anti-mage is up against is not that easy to play against, and it's also like he had a relatively hard time in lane. There's an anti-mage who blinks on him. There's now a Grimstroke which is using his silence on him. It's really hard for Invoker, and if he goes slightly out of position like he did there at the start of the fight, or if he gets spotted at the start, he just dies. Like, they could have easily killed him twice in that fight if they had to. And here we see Tornado out, hitting the target again, really nice, and they're going for the kill again. We have Alacrity, the spin on Juggernaut, and Grimstroke is out of the fight, and Anti-Mage is pushing me. So the pace of this game is really fast, and there's always something happening in the map, and Invoker in a really good position here, just ready for predicting ahead of time where anti-mage is going to go. Anti-mage still ends up getting away here with a teleport. Kind of unfortunate, but still good prediction ahead of time of what players were going to do and where they were going to move to next. So again, straight away a smoke play, so they're not spending time AFK jungling or giving the enemy time for them to farm up. They don't want this anti-mage to get his item. So if we look at like anti-mage's items right now, he has a battle fury and a blade of alacrity at 25 minutes. He wants to have a Manta style done by this time, potentially even working towards a basher. He's really far behind. They're just pushing tier 4s and the game ends quite quickly. As you see, these types of games at Immortal rank are very fast paced and there's always something happening, and teams don't just sit around and let each other farm. There is always this non-stop go go go, get kills, get farm, and good balance between both of them. And it is usually the pace that really makes people struggle, but at the same time this Invoker, even though his items and his timings are not like that impressive, what he did overall in the game had a very large impact in the style of games that this was. So overall I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this. There's also a Discord.